radioactive wastewater has been discharged into the Pacific Ocean since the Fukushima Daiichii nuclear disaster on the 11th of March 2011 in Japan. Initially, as of June 2011, the biggest threat was the leakage of cesium from the nuclear reactors into the Pacific. Over time, groundwater became the main source for leaks. While soil naturally absorbed the cesium in groundwater, strontium and tritium flow more freely through the soil into the ocean. In August 2013, the operator of the nuclear plant, Tokyo Electric Power Company, estimated between 20 trillion and 40 trillion BQs of tritium have leaked into the Pacific since 2011. The Fukushima plant was leaking about 300 tons of radioactive water into the ocean every day in August 2013, according to Japanese government officials. Despite repeated denial of leaks, TEPCO on the 22nd of July 2013 finally admitted leaks has been happening, something long suspected by local fishermen and independent investigators. On the 5th of April 2011, the operator of the nuclear plant, Tokyo Electric Power Company, discharged 11,500 tons of its least radioactive contaminated water into the Pacific Ocean in order to free up storage space for water that is even more radioactive. In May 2011, another 300,000 tons of radioactive water were dumped. Overall, 2.7 times 1016 becquerels of cesium-137 entered the ocean between the 21st of March and mid-July 2011. About 82% having flowed into the sea before the 8th of April 2011. As reported by the French Institute for Radiological Protection and Nuclear Safety. Since the 2011 Fukushima Daiichii nuclear disaster, the nuclear plant has accumulated 1.23 million tons of wastewater, stored in 1,044 tanks. As of September 2020, the power plant would run out of land for water tanks by 2022. It has been suggested the operator of the nuclear plant, Tokyo Electric Power Company, could make use of the land surrounding the power plant since it has been designated as unsuitable for human living anyway. Yet TEPCO is reluctant to find land. On the 13th of April 2021, the cabinet of Prime Minister Suga unanimously approved that TEPCO to dump the stored water to the Pacific Ocean over a course of 30 years. The cabinet asserted the radioactive water has already been treated and would be diluted to drinkable standard. In 2020, the Prime Minister declined to drink a cup of treated water offered to him. Before the final approval in 2021, numerous Japanese experts and officials had suggested the option of dumping as early as June 2016. Each time this sparked media scrutiny and the Japanese government had postponed its decision. The operator of the nuclear plant, Tokyo Electric Power Company, has poured water to prevent the damaged reactor cores from melting since 2011. Water treatment began in March 2013 as Advanced Liquid Processing System become operable. ALPS was designed to remove radionuclides, yet it failed to remove tritium, an isotope of hydrogen, which means treated water is still radioactive. As of 2013, 400 metric tons of water is being continuously poured into the damaged reactor buildings every day to cool them. In addition, another 400 metric tons of groundwater is seeping into the basements of the buildings and being contaminated each day. Therefore, 800 metric tons of water is pumped out every day and being treated for cesium removal and desalination. While half of the water pumped out is reused for cooling the reactors, the remaining 400 tons end up in storage tanks. As of 2020, the resulted contaminated water reduced to 170 metric tons per day. 28% of the water had been treated to the required level as of December 2019. The amount of tritium in the water was about 856 terabecquerels, and the average tritium concentration was about 0.73 megabecquerels per liter. As of October 2019, the Fukushima coast has one of the Earth's strongest current. The discharged radioactive water were carried far into the Pacific Ocean. About 80% of the atmospheric releases were deposited over the ocean. The accident released 100 to 500 peta-becquerels of iodine-131 and 6 to 20 pbq of cesium-137 to the atmosphere, according to an estimate by the United Nations Scientific Committee on the Effects of Atomic Radiation. In addition, 10 to 20 pbq of iodine-131 and 3 to 6 pbq of cesium-137 were released directly to the ocean.